What you're about to watch is a special private training session for people who bought a copy of my book, Built to Serve. Enjoy. Hey, there we go. It's happening. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hey, Evan.
See some new people, see some familiar people. The point of this group was for people who bought the book to get more value. You know, again, as I say, pretty much every time, I don't want you to just have a book on your shelf that then doesn't do anything, but that you actually get value out of it, that it leads to impact for you, that you get results from it. We got Zan the Man, the Built to Serve coach in the house as well, ready to go. And the way this works is there's a poll of whatever the topic is. That's what I talk about. And then we jam out, and however I can bring value, however I can help, get your questions ready. So what's the topic? So the topic today was, if you were restarting, what exact steps would you take to build your business and audience? That's funny. So I was just talking with somebody on a podcast about this. How did I build my Instagram? Because it's a little newer than YouTube. When I started YouTube, it was a long time ago, April 2009. But Instagram was a lot more recent in terms of creating the content. Two things really help. Okay. So one, we need to be creating consistent content that you actually care about, right? So think about who you used to be. Think about the problems you struggled with. I'm still making content even now for 19-year-old Evan, who is struggling to believe in himself, and then do it consistently, right? Like, make consistent content that you yourself would have needed. One of the big problems that people have is, one, you're either not consistent enough. Like you have the heart, the energy, the passion, the love, the desire to serve, all of it. Like you have all of it. You're just not consistent enough. It's just, you look at the content and it's on and then off and then on and then off, and you don't have enough time for momentum to actually start to build up. And I see a bunch of movement makers here in the house too. So you guys are on another level, extra, not pressure, but expectations to make and be consistent and get your content up there. Or the content isn't what you would actually love yourself, right? Like, go back to who you used to be. Did you actually need that content? Are you posting just to post, or does it actually mean something to you? Right? Does it actually make you feel something when you create that content and post it? Like, is this what people actually need? You actually need it. Does it get you excited? It's like, yes, this is a valuable message. Or is it just, I got to get something up today, so you post, right? Most of us, we're not consistently posting enough good quality content. And good quality is like what would actually have moved the needle for who you used to be. And then the second thing that I would do is just tie into community. So I was telling a story on a podcast that I was on just before this. How did I build my Instagram? Well, when Nina went shopping at Costco on the weekends, I'd drive her there, sit in the parking lot, and then start video DMing people to say thank you for following me. And at the beginning, there were maybe 5 people who would follow me for that week. So you run out of 5 people pretty quickly. It's not that hard to do. So then I started moving to the people who liked my stuff or commented on my stuff. And it would be a super quick video. It'd be like, hey, Mark, I saw that you commented on my post. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Have a great Sunday. Believe. Next. Right? And that means something. You know, that 8 seconds of a video means something. The number of people who then would say, hey, nobody's ever said thank you. Nobody's ever left me a video message. Nobody's ever acknowledged me. Nobody's ever done that. That's what gets people deeply connected to you. And then they come back and they look at your next post and they like again, and maybe they share it with their audience. And that's how you build one by one to start building your loyal, hardcore fans. So that's not sustainable if you're getting 1,000 people a day, you're not going to be able to video DM. Like, you'll run out of time to be able to do it. It's physically not possible, even if it becomes your full-time job at some point. But especially in the beginning, to recognize everybody who's had any kind of interaction with you. Even if you're not, listen, I'm an introvert, I'm shy, I have no need to be famous. You still want to serve, you still want to help, pull out the video, leave a quick message. Don't worry about what your hair looks like. Just say thank you. It'll mean a big difference to those people. The number of people who then would write and say, hey, that message meant the world to me. It's like, it took me 11 seconds to send. I sent Burke here a message this morning. Did you see it, Burke? Did you watch it? Yes. And maybe it had an impact on her. Maybe, it didn't mean anything, but, I sent a few messages out to people this morning, and I still do it now at this stage, right? It doesn't contribute to as much growth as the early days percentage wise. Where do I find it? It was in your Instagram. If you go to your Instagram DMs, you'll be able to see what I sent. It's nothing super fancy either, Burke. It's like, hey, Burke, I'm on my walk thinking about you today. I always loved how you showed up in our readers group and move and make it, and just hope you have a great day. That's it. It doesn't have to be fancy, guys. It doesn't be like life-changing information, but just the fact that you took your time to recognize somebody who follows you or left a comment on your post just really, really makes a difference to start to get them more and deeper into your world. So that's what I would do. If I was starting over from scratch, those are the two things I would do. Every day, post content that 19-year-old Evan badly needs to see. And then every day, recognize the people who are following me, who are part of my community, even if it's only 3 people who join me this week, to say, thank you, I see you, I appreciate you, because they'll come back and they'll take you to the people who you don't have yet. There you go. Now let's throw it open to you guys. What do you got? If you got something I can help with, you can pop in a chat, you can raise your hand, get through as many people as we can.
Hey, I got a question.
Okay, go for it.
This could relate to lots of people regarding price lists. You know that my side project, not my main project, is creating poems. And people are hiring me to write custom poems. It's kind of nice. $250, $500. The question is, do you put a price list on your website if you're selling that kind of product? Lots of people sell courses and things, and clearly it's going to discourage the tire kickers and people that you don't want to sell to because they can't afford you. But is it worth putting a price list up? And this is for everybody who sells digital products.
I don't know that there's a definitive yes or no on this. I don't know that I've seen data to say, hey, if you put a price list, it has a 20% higher conversion or not. I'm a fan. I think it's good for people to know what they're buying. So whenever I'm selling something, it's a book, it's mover makers, it's my NFTs, like whatever. There's a price there, and you can see what it is. So it's good for people to have a range. I think it saves you time. If you're gonna sell it and somebody says, "Oh, I'll hire you for $5 to write this poem," Mark, you're like, okay, probably not worth it, or your time study. Mark, we've got a $500 budget. What can you do? Not a lot. Right. And so it just eliminates the people out. It also, I think, can establish a little bit of, when you see how much something costs, like if we see a time study, what does your average time study cost?
$1,200 per person.
So what does that work out to, like an average? Like $20,000?
$10,000 to $100,000.
Right. So knowing that that's the budget, also, so one disqualifies individuals or small companies, or it's like if $10,000 is your buy-in, for some people it's like, oh my gosh, I was thinking I want this little assessment and I was going to pay $8 for it, right? It already weeds them out, but it also opts people in to say, oh, this guy is actually serious. Like this guy could help my company. This guy has worked on big projects before. So if I have uncertainty, like, okay, he does some time studies, but can he handle a giant company? Like, yeah, I've worked with these big companies before and my projects go up to 6 figures, right? So I don't know. In general, I'm a fan. I don't know that like it has to be the only way to do it. But I think if you said, hey, I charge $250 to write a poem, it weeds people out. And also it would signify that, hey, this guy's got something of value here, that he's not on Fiverr with a $5 poem. But right. I'm sure is on Fiverr. Like you go to Fiverr, somebody will write a poem for $5, right?
Hey, follow up question. What are you doing with NFTs?
I'm dipping my toes. We got 2 NFTs out right now. I've got basically taking some of the cartoons that we've invested into creating, and one expires today. The one expires tomorrow for the auction. I'm also throwing in a one-on-one with me on Instagram Live. That's not actually in the smart contract, but if you're on my newsletter list, you'd see that. And we're going to be doing more. So taking some of the artwork that we create for Instagram, I'm putting them up as NFTs, as well as creating a brand new series, which I can't talk about yet, but stay tuned, which is going to be specifically designed as an NFT project. And then ongoing, thinking things like, when people do, so I just did a podcast interview with somebody, and he bought, right now the podcast deal is, hey, you want me on your podcast? Buy X number of books through my publisher, and I'll come on your show. That could easily be turned into an NFT, because eventually everything is going to be going that way. You're going to go to a concert and the ticket will be an NFT. And then that's something that you can show off to say, like, you were here, you bought this. So I'm still dipping my toes. I'm still relatively new, but I'm playing, so that I could share more, bring more to you guys too. Olivia's got her hand up. What do you got, Olivia?
Hi, Ivan. So good to see you. And wow, I just want to appreciate you and Zanderman. I'm learning from so much. Just your love and your heart, and just so amazing. And I'm just so grateful. So I'm going to ask very naive questions. Zan saved me last week for some bad deals because, they asked me to upload all the videos to China with my teaching, and I kind of backed out. But I want to ask, I have options of, for example, design my own book and courses online, or to be an agent to bring nurses internationally to Canada or US, or, write a book and make me an authority. So I'm like, or upload everything on YouTube. I'm like, so many ideas. So in terms of business model, what would be a small point to start with? What would you recommend me to do if I have content? And I do have contact and networks, and just need a little guidance on points.
Pretty much every business model can work. Is it going to work for you? That becomes a question. What I would look at is, inside of the big thing that you're trying to do, what's the fastest way that you can start bringing money in? Because then that feeds everything else that you're doing. So, writing the book is not a fast way to bring money in. Does it count for credibility? Yeah, a little bit, but diminishing. Like the value of a book is going down. Hey, we're here because of my book, so I'm not anti-books. But the value of a book is not what it used to be. There's so many other ways to stand out and to be an authority without having a book. So just something to think about. If I'm you, if you want to go after the bringing nurses to Canada idea, so there's a shortage in Canada, there's a shortage in the US. Do you need to have a book to be able to make that business model happen? Probably not. So the reason to write a book could be to love it, because you love writing the book, because you want to create this thing and birth it. It just needs to be read. But I wouldn't put that in the way of you launching the company and starting to bring some revenue in. So I would take all of your ideas and like, okay, I love all of these. First off, what is the one that you're going to love the most, right? And then inside of that, how do I turn that into something that will make me money? Because then that can feed everything else that you're trying to do. And then bring on a team, and then continue to build and grow and expand, because you have cash flow coming in.
In terms of the team, is it better to loosely, I asked a couple questions before and it didn't work out. I felt a little bit discouraged. It's like, people take advantage if I, working with bigger established companies, but building my own team, I don't have like wages for my employees or full-time, part-time. So what's your way of going about from 0 to 1? Would you associate with people, or would you hire? Yeah.
Well, if you don't have money, then you can't hire. This is why we have to start making money as soon as we can, so that you can afford to hire people. Now, do you want to give them equity in your company? That's a possibility, but that's now a partner that you have to really feel like you love this person and want to spend the next 20 years together, right? Which is sometimes hard to tell, right up front. If you want to just have a great team, people who you've hired, then that's totally possible. You just have to now figure out, how am I going to start making money in this business? So if you're going to do nursing to Canada, great. Now you have to go find Canadian hospitals who will hire you to do this, and then go find some candidates or a easy supply chain of how do I get nurses to come over from wherever, China, Philippines, whatever, to get them to come and start getting paid. You could do all that yourself, and you start making money. And then you make money, you start giving away some of the things that you don't like doing as much to somebody who you can afford to bring on, that then allows you to scale your time to step up and be more of the CEO. So it's figuring out what can you do with your time that is in service of your mission and also brings in money for you so that you can afford to hire people, even if it's part-time, even if it's hiring one person part-time for 10 hours a week, because that saves you 10 hours of your time per week, can really help. The first person doesn't have to be a full-time person and you have to drop 40, 50, 60, 70K, right? It could just be a part-time person who you're hiring for 5 hours a week, but you still need a business model attached to it. So hiring people before a business model, I'm not a huge fan of. Like, go find a way to make money off of your time and then start delegating out so you can scale.
One more question. If I want to recruit nurses internationally or in China, is making a video, marketing video, the best way, Ivan?
Probably not.
No?
You know, like how many for, well, depends who you're going after. Like, this is when you know specifically, like making videos. I love YouTube too, right? I love YouTube. But when you have a very specific market that you're going after, usually the easiest way is to call them and go through connections. So you need to target, 50 hospitals in Canada, 100 hospitals in Canada and the US. Like, you're targeting specific hospitals. Then you need to target who are the people who can get me to the nurses in China and Philippines or wherever. Especially in China, like YouTube is not going to be the path to get the people in China, right? So it's individual relationships that you need to form. YouTube is to go global. YouTube is to, or speak to the world, or speak to America, or speak to North America. Like, we're trying to make a wide audience, and that's great. And it's a long-term play, but from going from a YouTube video to you making immediate money in your business, it's not the smart path. You go and call them and you start making connections. Like, who knows somebody that can get me into that company?
It's awkward when I was like, do you want to do it? Like, yeah, I want to go abroad. And then I was like, oh, how do I close the sale, ask for the money? It's like, do you have to learn that or just do it? Like, I have this, you pay this, you can come, I'll help you. Like, just do it, right?
Well, hiding behind making YouTube videos isn't going to help you, get that out either, right? So yes, you have to do it. You can start to see what other people are charging. You can start to think about the value that you're bringing. But yeah, you have to make a sale. To Mark's point of, hey, I sell poetry. He's got to put a price, and it's $100. It's $250 to do my time study. Is going to cost you a minimum of $10,000. And if somebody says, well, I have 4, it's like, sorry, I can't do it. Like, it just takes too much work for me to put that together.
I'm seeking partnering with other like immigration lawyers or consultants, which I myself can do it too. But I'm just like, oh, I don't have experience maybe. And they were like, I want 90%. Every person you bring, I'll give you 10%. So I know they're big sharks. They've been established for 20 years. But I don't know, like I cannot do everything by myself, right?
You don't have to do everything. You just have to get it started. This is for everybody, right? Like, if lawyers are the path, then you go and you make your first deal with a lawyer. You start bringing money in, and then you hire somebody to go make more deals with lawyers. But it's on you to figure out the business model first, to say, hey, here's how much we charge. Here's how we're making money. I have some money coming in, but I'm going to hire somebody now to go off and do all of these deals for me so I can focus on the next piece.
Yeah, so helpful. Thank you so much, Evan.
Cool. You got it.
Invaluable. Yeah.
I love it. All right. We got Marianne in the house. Did I pronounce that okay?
It's Marianne, but yeah, pretty good.
Marianne. All right.
Yeah. Hey, Evan. Quick question. I'm going through the workbook here, and I'm a little stuck on the who.
Okay.
I answered the questions. I went through the things. It's still not sitting well with me what I came up with.
Okay.
So I don't know. Is there some other steps I should try to take?
What did you come up with? What's on your list?
encourage and teach were the two top words, but I don't know. They're yes, no.
So break it down. Like who was your favorite teacher growing up?
Okay. Yeah. Dr. Bourne.
Doctor who?
Bourne.
Born? Like
Yeah.
Born Identity?
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Why? Why do we like Dr. Bourne?
He was just like, he encouraged me. He was a college teacher, and he encouraged me to write, and kind of believed in me. He's like, oh, what you're doing is pretty good. Just keep doing it. I was like, all right, cool.
What subject was he?
English.
Got it. Okay. Because again, with your teachers, not even about the material, it's how they made you feel as a human. So he encouraged you to write. Now are you a writer? Is that what you do?
Well, I wrote something. I'm not a writer, but I did write something. I wrote a book, but I'm not a writer.
Okay. Do you have kids?
4.
So if you had one thing that you could tell them, what would you tell them as a reminder?
One of the main things is just their imagination, just making sure that they're using their imagination, and that your believe is essentially one of them, believe in themselves. And
okay. It's the second time you said believe, by the way.
Did I really?
Yeah, you said Born helped you believe in yourself.
That's crazy. All right.
That's okay. Listen, I like it. I'm not trying to force it, but I like that word. It's a good word. What else? A favorite movie, favorite book, favorite song, something that makes you come alive?
I put down Gladiator.
Okay. That's a good movie. I love the soundtrack.
Yeah, good soundtrack. He kind of got beaten down, but then he came back up and did some good stuff.
Okay. So you watch that. What do you take away? What do you feel?
What do I feel? That's a good question. Just kind of like lift it up. Like it's like like anything's possible.
Okay. So where does teaching fall into all this for you?
I like teaching.
Because?
Smaller groups, but I like teaching.
Okay. What does that do for you?
Oh, like how does it make me feel?
Yeah, like why teach? Like I'm not judging, I'm just asking.
Yeah, when you're done showing someone how to do something, it's always I always felt good when I was able to share some knowledge or something that I knew or something I could do with someone.
And are you a teacher, or who are you teaching? Teaching your kids, teaching your friends?
I was a scoutmaster for a little while at a troop, and I was teaching there, and that was great, and I enjoyed that a lot.
So what was the best part of scoutmastering?
Turning it over to the next guy.
Okay, but so this is actually important. So I mean, you didn't continue; it's fine. And there's probably a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of rules and a lot of like all the stuff that you didn't like and dealing with parents and all of the stuff. But
exactly.
But what did you actually love about it? Like, what was the one piece? There might have been 20 things that you hated, but there's a couple that you loved.
I really enjoyed like taking just a handful of them and being able to show them something and they'd be like, oh wow, that was great, Mr. Bernick. I love that.
Okay. So, the thing that keeps coming through, you started with encourage and teach. And then when you're talking about Dr. Bourne, you're talking about Gladiator, you're talking about your kids, it's all related to encouraging, believe, things are possible, lifting up. So it's in there. And like the teaching can be how you do it. That's fine. I mean, I think everybody loves teaching to some degree. But at the core of all the things that make you come alive is that uplifting, encourage, like they're all kind of sister words. You want to go encourage, you want to go believe. Dr. Bourne, you said encourage and believe. Your kids, you said imagination and believe. Gladiator, you said lift up, anything is possible. Teaching small groups, like feel good, share knowledge, show, like it's all related to encouraging, believing, and anything is possible. They're all close. Like within that is
somewhere. Okay.
It's minutia, right? Like which one feels more right to you? It doesn't really matter. but there's one that will connect, but that's at the core of what you want to do. Like you want to lift people up. You want them to, even imagination is like on the sidelines. It's encouraging, it's believing, making people feel like things are possible, lifting them up.
All right. I will continue to figure that out. I think I'm close. It's in there somewhere. So I'm just.
Well, does anything like pop off just from that? And we don't need to in this session right now, but does anything?
No, not really. I'm going to kind of write those things down and just kind of mull them over a little bit.
Think about like if you had to leave your kids and like try to imagine it, you know, you're going to go away. You have 4 kids, like tomorrow you're going to die. It's not a great thought, but like you can leave one message, like one word on a piece of paper that all 4 of them have to see, not a customized message and I love you and like a whole page, but you got one word to give them. What's the one word that you're going to put on the paper to write?
That's tough. I don't want to steal your thunder there, but believe is really good.
I like it, but well, and again, like believe wasn't on your initial list. You know, you said encourage and teach, but then as you were explaining Dr. Bourne and and you're talking about your kids, you said believe both times. So it could be it. That may be why you resonate with what I'm doing in my content as well.
Love your stuff, man. Love your stuff.
Well, it's all about believe. But so like sit on it, you know, that's the kind of thing like, hey, if the one word you would leave your kids with, at least what comes to mind now, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if we're all going to kidnap you and that was it, you know, we only give you one shot today and you're going to write believe, then that's your starting point. And then what you do is you sit on it. So you started with encourage and teach. We introduced believe today in this little mini 7-minute session. And you'd sit on it tomorrow and say, hey, how do I feel about believe? It's either going to feel more and more right or more wrong. It doesn't have to be this snap moment to like, yes, aha, like the clouds have parted and this is it for sure. But it'll feel more and more right or more wrong. And if it feels more and more right, then just keep sitting on it and what that means to you and think, did Dr. Bourne really make me believe in myself? Did I love the scouting because I helped the kids believe in themselves more, like more than teaching them a skill or more than whatever is it that I helped them believe in themselves? And I don't want to project to say, yes, of course, this is it, right? But is that the thing that you love the most about it? And if yes, then you keep running with it. And if no, then it's going to be related. Like maybe it's encourage, or maybe it's possible, or maybe it's uplift, right? But they're all very close, you know. And even that is a lot more clarity than most of the world has on what they want to be, and what they want to create.
All right, I will sit on that. Thank you, Evan.
Cool, man. Come back next week and let us know where you're at.
I will.
Cool. All right, Bonnie. Let's bring you on super quick. What do we got?
I actually just have a suggestion. It's Marianne. Is that how you pronounce it? When I did this process with your one word, Sebastian's waving. I used a thesaurus because I had like a list of 10 words. And what I did was wrote out like all of the words that kind of went with the original word. And then I started looking for the patterns. And that's how I actually came up with the word spirit, which is then where unbreakable was born from later. So I don't know if that's helpful, kind of connecting the dots, but that's what the process that I went through after using your exercises, because I was having a hard time narrowing it down.
I lost.
Thank you. I will try that too.
I love it.
You're very welcome.
If you want to get a copy of Built to Serve and join us live for our next training with me to ask your questions, you can go get the book right there next to me, right there. I'll see you there. I'll see you to get the book. It's a good one. Much love.